Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Qualified Podcast. With me today is Brian Spriggs, and he is going to tell us all about his business, Two Girls and a Mop. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your experience with everyone.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. Let's start with the basics, a little background on yourself. Where were you born? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in southern Ohio called Jackson. Went to high school there, graduated, moved to North Carolina, to the Fayetteville area to go to college. Once I graduated college, I moved to the Raleigh, North Carolina area. Kind of was all over the state of North Carolina for a while. I was running restaurants at the time. Excuse me. And ended up in Charlotte, Greensboro, High Point area. And then eventually that brought me to Tennessee, and Tennessee is where we started.
So you moved around quite a bit growing up.
Yes, sir.
What was your favorite place to live?
Tennessee, far and away.
Okay.
Love it here. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about?
Probably the people, the landscape, the country feel to it all. There's a little bit of everything here, whether it's the mountains, whether it's the city of Nashville, just a little bit of everything. Just really enjoy it here.
Awesome. So growing up as a kid, did you aspire to be a business owner, or did you have thoughts about doing something elsewhere?
No, sir. I was big into golf when I was in high school, and that's actually what I went to college for. I actually have a degree in golf. I have a business administration degree with a concentration in professional golf management. And I don't play golf anymore. So, I really I didn't have aspirations of being a business owner. It was more being a business operator, so to speak.
So what made you, I guess, switch from golf into business?
I just had a knee injury in college, and just kind of prohibited me from playing golf on a daily basis. And being a golf pro, obviously, you need to play golf basically every day. But one of the classes that I took in college for that program was a food and beverage class, and I had a pretty big interest in that at the time, and I started learning more about that. And as soon as I graduated college, I went straight into management.
Anybody in your family growing up a business owner where you could kind of pick their brain on things?
No, sir. Really, no business owners in my family.
So you're the first and kind of pioneering and trailblazing for everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So when did you start? Is Two Girls, One Mop your first business, or did you have another business before?
Nope. Two Girls, One Mop is my first business. We started it almost 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years in June.
What inspired you to start?
My wife was working a part-time job with a maid company, and at the time I was in the restaurant industry. When she was working that job, it was more just kind of a part-time, get out of the house type of job that she worked a few days a week. And the thing that amazed me about it was a company that is, a national company. And every day she would tell me the same things. And there were really three things that stuck out to me. The first one was how poorly they treated their employees. The second one was how poorly they treated their customers. And the third one was how busy they were despite the first two things. And I remember looking at her and saying, we can do this better. With my customer service background in the restaurant industry, basically I took that into the maid business. We put a business plan together. We both went in and quit our jobs. I had been with the same company for 18 years at that point. Took a leap of faith.
Wow.
Left a really good paying job to start this, and it's been nothing but a blessing ever since.
So definitely a huge risk, being with a company almost 2 decades and starting something from scratch I can only imagine how nerve-wracking for you.
It was a little scary.
And your wife was behind the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. When we started out, it was just me and her. I was doing all of the office admin, marketing, trying to drum up business, everything that goes into starting a new business. And she was out in the field cleaning. And within a couple of months, we had hired our first employee. I'm proud to say that she still works for us today. Not only does she work for us, but her mom works for us. It was a blessing, but it was definitely scary.
Do you remember how much you invested when you started?
Just a few $1,000s. It wasn't a whole lot. I learned how to build a website. I learned, a little bit about marketing. I learned about, search engine optimization, taught myself those types of things, and just kind of went at it from that standpoint of trying to save money and build the business. So there wasn't a whole lot of initial capital.
That's one of the best things. I mean, short of getting a loan and trying to, get capital that way or an investor, if you don't have a lot, you got to take matters in your own hands and learn all this stuff yourself, right? Like the marketing is huge. Um, SEO is a big place in marketing where you can essentially spend a lot of money if you go with an agency.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do it yourself, it's a lot of money saved. Plus, you learn a lot, right? When you
Yes,
get further down the line to where you want to pay someone to do it, you will know if they know what they're talking about.
absolutely.
Which it seems like there's a lot of people who are quick to watch a YouTube video or two and then claim to be an expert. And
There are a lot of those.
you'll find very quickly that pages are not linked correctly and just keyword stuffing everywhere. So it's a lot to watch out for. What have been some of the biggest challenges in the last 6 years of starting and growing?
I think the biggest challenge, it probably holds true for everybody, but it's hiring, making sure that you've got the right people in place that can make the business successful. There's been a lot of changes in the job market. There's been a lot of changes in people's mentality as far as what work is anymore, and that's definitely always been the biggest.
So you mentioned earlier from hearing from your wife about how this mainstream cleaning corporation treated customers, treated their staff. Is that, would you say the reason you're different from everybody is because you take those things into account and you do the complete opposite of what they did?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm of the mindset that customer service, for the most part, in today's age, is dead and gone. It's the exception, not the rule anymore. And we really built our company on some core values. Number one, that our employees, we recognize that they are our most important asset, and we treat them as such. We try to treat them like family. Um, the next piece of the line is obviously the customer service, making sure that we are there for our customers. We hear what our customers want, what their needs are, and then we try to meet those needs. We're not perfect. If there is a problem, we try to approach it, with the mindset of looking at it from the customer's eyes, having empathy for them, and going in and making sure that we make that right for them. But those are our real core values that we started the company on, and we've held true to them. And between those core values and the blessings of the good Lord, that is why we've been a success.
To your point, it is quite frustrating to see so many businesses around the world that lack proper customer service and just care to just do the right thing, right? They think, well, they're going to buy it no matter what, whether it's a product or a service. They'll come back. If not, it's fine. We'll get another one.
That's exactly what I see, not only from my competitors, but other industries. That is what's rampant in today's world and society, and I think that the businesses who can recognize that and really go after the customer service pieces, those are the businesses that are going to be successful over the next 10, 20 years.
Absolutely. Have you had to make a tough decision that has made a big impact on the business as of yet?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say the biggest decision that I had to make was when COVID happened. What do we do? We were still a new company, got bills to pay, and I was seeing other companies laying their employees off right. We made the tough decision to pay our employees, keep everybody on staff, even though that we didn't have the business to support them. We were just paying them out of the profits and out of our own pocket to keep them on staff. But that was probably one of the best decisions that we ever made because all the other cleaning companies in the area who laid all their employees off, COVID only lasted a few months as far as impact on business and sales. And when those sales came back, those other companies who had laid their employees off, they were struggling to staff and struggling to be able to take care of the customers who were calling. And we weren't. We had the people. And our sales, they doubled that year. So once in the 12 months after COVID, we saw a doubling in our business. So really one of the best decisions we ever made there.
That's one of the few times that I've heard people, mentioning COVID and having layoffs and cutting back so they could keep the business going. You did probably, like you said, one of the hardest decisions anybody as a business owner can make is something that the world has seen only a few times, and we've only seen it once, right? With
Mm-hmm.
a whole global shutdown. You kept your employees on and you kept them going and you stayed positive, and you, like you said, after a couple months when things started opening up again and we can get back a little bit into a normal routine, you reap those benefits. You've doubled, right, in that year following. So definitely a big impact, but a big success afterwards.
Absolutely.
How do you prioritize and manage your time as an owner?
I'm very systematic. I am a creature of habit. I have a daily routine. I get up at the same time every day. I do the exact same thing. I have steps every single day. I've got this to do first, this to do, this to do, this to do. And most of the time, I've got everything done by 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and it's kind of cruise control from there. It's answering the phone, helping answer any questions that our team members might have, but just a very systematic approach. And the other piece is I try to leverage technology. Um, Big with the calendars, big with using Siri and reminders on my phone. If you went into my phone and looked at the reminders, right now there's probably 50 of them in there, and as far out as 3, 4, 5, 6 months from now. But I put everything in there so that I don't forget anything and drop the ball. I'm not as young and sharp as I used to be. So, I used to be able to just remember everything, but now I got to.
I'm the same way. My reminders on my phone are like 6 months out. The minute my wife says, "Hey, we got something," I'm putting it in my phone and setting a reminder for that reminder, letting me know a week in advance. If it's, a month or two out, I'm setting a reminder for that reminder, letting me
Mhm.
know a week or two in advance, and then a couple times going forward, because so many things going on, you don't want to miss anything, right? Because then you look bad and it just more of a mental thing for yourself,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
So
sir.
would that translate into your leadership style too?
Yeah, absolutely. Very very systematic with that as well. But from a leadership style, I got to be honest. I try to put the power into my employees' hands and let them handle things. I teach them what the expectation is, follow up on that expectation, and once they've got that, I'm kind of hands off with them. I let them know when I hire them, hey, if you're not hearing from me, that's a good thing. uh, Obviously, there's follow up calls and conversations and whatnot, and the good jobs and the pats on the back. But at the end of the day, I try to put my trust in them, empower them, because that's what they're good at. I'm good at customer service. I'm good at running the business, managing the business. They're great at cleaning. And because of that, when we each know our role, we can be successful that way.
Absolutely. How are you creating and maintaining positive company culture within your team?
Making sure that when you get somebody or a situation that can be cancerous, that you go in and you cut that cancer out as quickly as possible. Obviously, give people an opportunity, a chance to fix things, but don't let that be something that festers and brings the rest of the team down.
Are you a second, third chance kind of guy, or after the second, it's kind of
You know,
over?
I look at that as a shade of gray. Every situation is a little different. There are some situations that you're not getting a second or third chance, and then there's other situations and other people, they may get 3, 4, or 5 depending on what it is, because you can't necessarily, depending on what it is, expect somebody to just fix it immediately. um, there are things about myself and my personality that I couldn't change overnight, and I don't think that a lot of my employees could necessarily change those things overnight. But as long as they're working on it and I'm seeing those improvements, yeah, you can get multiple opportunities.
What about with setbacks and failures? How do you handle that for yourself within the business?
To be honest with you, we haven't had that many setbacks and failures, but the few that we've had, try to maintain a positive attitude about it, find a way to fix it, and let's move forward.
Work
But
life balance.
yeah,
How
uh,
is that?
it's phenomenal to be honest with you. Um, I come from, again, the restaurant industry where I was working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, working every holiday, every weekend. So now my work life balance, I get to see my kids more than I and wife more than I ever have. I actually, from starting the first business, I now run four businesses, and even with running those four businesses, I still have plenty of time to spend with my family. If I need to sneak away for a couple hours to go see a school event or anything, that's as simple as changing what my voicemail is on my phone, and letting my customers know, hey, I'll get back to you here in just a couple hours.
What are the other businesses?
First one is a social media marketing and website design, and then the next one is a business consulting. And then the last one is kind of the outlier, and it is a metalworks. It's called Black and Tan Metalworks. But we do everything from CNC sign making, plasma cutting, laser engraving. We make hats, leather patches, you name it. So,
So all across the board, kind of a little bit of everything. Motivation. What do you use for motivation and maintaining that drive every day?
as I've said many times now, I worked in the restaurant industry, and I didn't have a work life balance. It was all work, work, work. So the way that I maintain that positive mentality is to remember back how bad it's been, how what it was like when I didn't have a work life balance. Um, so basically, if I had to sum it up, I'd say I count my blessings.
I worked in the restaurant industry as well for 10 years, so I definitely
Well, you understand it then.
I understand. I front of house, back of house, it's dealing with a lot of different relationship types with different people and putting on different hats. The biggest is the holidays. You know, there are certain holidays where your family's like, what time are you going to be over? And if it
I
happens
don't
to
know.
land on that day, yeah, I can't be there, or I'll stop in for 20 minutes, but I got to go back.
Sure.
So it's a lot. I feel like everybody should, or at least kids in 16 to 18, that 2 years before college, should definitely work retail and in the restaurant industry.
I've said that for years is that people shouldn't be allowed to go out and eat in a restaurant unless you've actually worked in one for at least a week.
It would open a lot of people's minds. I've said stories to friends and they couldn't believe it.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's I'm sure you have plenty as well. What are some of the most important lessons you've learned in the last 6 years?
I think the biggest one is keep it simple, stupid. And that's kind of my approach to things. If you don't overcomplicate anything, it's so easy to get tied up in little details and little things that, quite honestly, they just don't matter at the end of the day. Take a simple approach to problem solving, take a simple approach to your business methods, and you'll be a lot better off. Just don't overcomplicate things.
The KISS method is I use it myself. It helps a lot. And sometimes you forget. You overcomplicate things when it shouldn't be, and you kind of finish the task and look back and you're like, why did I do that? It shouldn't have been that way.
Yeah.
So that would be your same approach to decision making and problem solving as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Find the simplest solution to the problem.
What would you say was the hardest change or transition that you've had to do within this business or the others?
I don't know that there has been. There's nothing that sticks out in my mind as being a difficult transition, really.
Would it be the transition in COVID when things slowed down?
No, I don't think so. It doesn't stick out as a necessarily a big transition. It was more, just a short term pothole.
I like that outlook on that because a lot of people have thanked God or whoever that it's over, because it was a tough time. But your outlook on it is just a hiccup, speed bump in the road, and just move on to the next.
Yes, sir.
Going towards hiring, do you have independent contractors or do you have employees?
We have nothing but W-2 employees.
And how many do you have working in the field?
We carry anywhere between 14 and 18,
Do
depending
you
on
have
the time
any?
of the year.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Depending on the time of the year, between 14 and 18.
What about office staff? Do you have any office?
You're looking at it.
One man show.
It's
What? Where do you do your hiring?
Indeed. Almost exclusively. Do some employee referrals. If they bring me somebody that they know that's looking for a job that they vouch for, certainly would interview them. But most of the time, it's Indeed. We kind of keep a regular unpaid ad running all the time with them, and then if we do get into a situation where we looking for somebody more quickly, then a little bit of paid advertising.
For you, what was the decision to go with employees rather than contractors?
The biggest thing is for me, I feel like is that you don't have enough control whenever you're using contractors, the rules and the laws and everything around that. And then the other piece of using contractors is I feel like if someone's coming to work for me and I'm telling them where to go and what to do, that I need to be withholding their taxes and stuff like that. I have a problem with businesses who are using contractors when they're really W-2 employees and they're trying to put that responsibility of the withholding of taxes and things of that nature onto the employee. I think it's a little bit of a shady business practice in a lot of instances. It's not to say that there aren't companies out there that are on the up and up and doing it right with contractors, but I think in this industry, for the most part, that is probably not the case.
There's definitely ones that stretch what they
Yeah.
can get away with, and there's different laws in different states that give you leniency in some, and in others it's a lot harder. Do you use the hiring portion at all within your BK account?
Don't.
Any reason to not, or to use somewhere else?
To be honest with you, I've never dug real deep into that piece of it. I've never felt like I needed an adjustment on my hiring process or how I do things with it. So it's just kind of sitting there unexplored, for a lack of.
Talk to us about your hiring process then. What are the steps to that?
First thing is reviewing their application. Once I review their application, if it's somebody that, based on the application, I'd like to talk to further, I'm going to call and set up an interview with them and do a phone interview. Once they went through a phone interview, if everything went well with that, it's going to be an in-person interview. And if I feel good with them after the in-person interview, that's when I extend a job offer.
How long do you usually have that process take?
As quickly as possible. I mean, if I always try to get a phone interview set up with them just as quick as they can get on the phone and do it, even if it's the same day. And then as far as getting them in for an in-person, again, just as quickly as possible. I don't want other businesses to, I guess, jump ahead of me. One of the things that when I was in the restaurant business, it was beat into our heads from hiring was you've got to be quick. You can't let them get over to a competitor. And I brought that mindset with hiring over to this business as well. I don't want one of my competitors to snatch them up, so I'm going to get them in front of me as quickly as possible and make an offer if that's what's needed.
What's an automatic red flag to you on a job application?
The first thing I always look at on a job application is going to be their length of employment with prior jobs, their job history. Are they job hopping? The next thing that I always do is go to Facebook. I go to social media. I look up their name. I see if I can find them. And then I just kind of look and see, what kind of things are posted on their page. I try to get a sense and feel for who they are when they're not putting on a show in front of me with an interview. And I would say that's social media is probably the biggest thing that gets people excluded from being offered even a phone interview.
And you've run into that several times?
All the time. Yeah, I would say that for every 10 applicants that I get, I would say 5 or 6 of them don't make it past social media.
Interesting. What's an ideal candidate look like for you?
Somebody that's got a positive attitude, somebody who is willing to learn, somebody who is willing to listen, somebody who is willing to take feedback and then do something with it. But the biggest thing is definitely, the positive.
And then you said you're always kind of hiring, or you always kind of have an ad running with Indeed, but or do you
Yeah,
pause?
yeah. So I don't really pause. I always look at it as there's always an opportunity to top grade. If somebody comes along and I feel like they could be better than what my worst employee is, then it's either going to be a situation where, hey, this is an opportunity for growth, or this is an opportunity to improve my team. So I wouldn't say that I'm ever not hiring. There are certainly times of the year, we just come out of the wintertime, January, February. Those are our slowest months. We start getting into the middle of March. Things start really picking back up. So I tried to lower my staffing level a little bit there through that late December, January, February time period, and then really start picking up 2, 3, 4 more employees every March. That's been successful.
Awesome. Going on into marketing now, what are you currently doing for your marketing channels?
Very little. We attacked SEO and social media, and then even getting out and just knocking on doors, getting flyers, getting our name in front of people when we started 6 years ago. SEO practices have paid off drastically for us. We rank top three, if not number one, in all of the major cities in our market here. So it's mainly through SEO. If there is a situation where I've got a few slots that I need to fill, or I'm looking 2 or 3 weeks out and going, yeah, normally we're booked solid through 2 weeks, but 3 weeks from now it's looking a little iffy. I'll go on my website and I'll make a pop up and do some kind of little promo code, $30 off, $40 off, something like that. If I see my recurring numbers dipping a little bit, may do a promo that encourages people to book recurring cleanings. Like we recently did one because I kind of overhired a little bit in the last month, and have some schedules to fill. So one of the things I did to encourage recurring bookings was I offered customers $80 off if you made a recurring booking in the month of April, either a weekly, biweekly, or monthly cleaning. You get $80 off of your first cleaning, and that's been real successful. We've picked up quite a few recurring customers to help fill in those new employees.
With social media, are you doing paid ads or just organic?
Just organic.
And have you ever tried the paid ads? Did they work out in your area?
I've tried them a couple of times. I've never put a lot of ad dollars to it. I've never seen a big success with it to where I felt like it was worthwhile. Before it got oversaturated, Google Local Services was good for us, but we were kind of one of the first ones in this market to get on board with that, and that was great. And there's still times that if things were really slow, that I might look to go to Google Local Services. But my advertising spend is very, very.
And where you have one location, correct?
Yes,
And how big is that location?
we are located in a suburb of Nashville. So I tell everybody that we're basically within a 45 minute drive of this suburb. So we catch the major metropolitan side of Nashville, and then everything that is I guess about 35, 40 minutes east of Nashville, circular radius.
Do you touch any Airbnbs? Because I know a lot of Nashville has Airbnbs and probably the surrounding areas. So you do those as well.
Yeah, we do Airbnbs. We used to do a lot, and when I say a lot, it was probably touching 30% of our business. And we still to this day we get a ton of calls about just every day about people looking for Airbnb cleaning services. But one of the things that I found that is with Airbnbs is majority of my employees did not enjoy doing them. Um, every customer is a little bit different when it comes to Airbnb as far as what they want and what their expectations were. They all like to take same day turns. They all like to have the smallest window possible to get the cleaning done. And we were doing a lot of houses that were two, three, four, even 5,000 square feet. So there's a lot of beds. It took a lot of manpower, and that was a transition. I guess now looking back to an earlier question you had, that was a transition decision that I made. There was the employees didn't like it, but they did enjoy doing the smaller Airbnbs. The 1 or 2 bedrooms, the ones that are 800, 900 square feet. They did like those. So what I eventually did was I cut ties with all of our large square footage Airbnbs, and we just started going to doing the small ones, and really scaled that side of the business down. And now it's at a point where we don't have any big Airbnbs, any big square footage ones. We have a lot of smaller ones that we can get in and out. You don't have to put a lot of manpower on it. If I only need to send one cleaner instead of a team of two, I can do that. They're not taking a lot of same day turns. They're not taking weekend bookings because we're closed on the weekends. We don't do cleanings on Saturdays or Sundays. So what I really did is anytime I get an Airbnb inquiry, I have an email that I send over that's got some standard questions. And what I'm looking for is, are we a good fit for them, but are they a good fit for us? And if they're not a good fit for us, then we don't want to. It's not something that we want to partner. Not because they're bad. It's just they don't fit our business model and don't fit how we want to do things. So
Definitely. And if you have a large Airbnb where, a dozen people just stayed in, like you said, it's so many beds. And then if it was, a dozen kids in their 20s, a lot of party to pick up, a lot of,
in Nashville,
yeah, a lot of red Solo cups and garbage bags. And it just takes so much time, spills to mop up. So I could definitely see the pain points of having, one or two cleaners do a 5,000 square foot home in a short amount of time. Like you said, these
it's just not
owners want.
possible.
Right. Because then it's either they do it as quick as possible, but they're not getting everything and it's not a great job, or it's going to take longer and then the host isn't happy because
Or I'm sending 6, 7, 8 cleaners over there to get it done properly in that short amount of time.
right. And then the money just doesn't work out for you. How are you leveraging data in your decision making when it comes to marketing?
One of the big things that, from a data standpoint, that I like to look at is I try to make sure that our recurring business is at a certain percentage. And if I see the recurring business numbers dropping, that's when I'll start kind of leveraging some of my different marketing techniques to bring those numbers.
Not a lot of data for you anyhow with SEO and just, natural organic social media. If you were running paid ads on social media or LSA or local service, you got a little bit more data to go off of. How are you staying updated on trends in the industry? I know there's not a whole lot of things changing all the time, but things do change. So what do you use to kind of stay on top of that?
From a social media standpoint, I'm a member of several different cleaning groups, the Booking Koala Facebook page, things of that nature. But then I also like a couple of times a year to play pretend and pretend that I'm a customer, and I call some of my competitors, kind of get some ideas on what their pricing is, how they're doing things. I've even hired them to come out and clean my place before, just to kind of see.
Isn't that fun? Kind of being a secret shopper for
Yeah.
for the competition. Some might say it's unethical, but I don't necessarily see how that is because you're getting a service done, right? It's not like you're stealing anything proprietary from them. You're not poaching their cleaner. You're just kind of seeing how things are done.
When we go shopping, we I'm sure everybody's like me. They're looking at, well, how much is it at Walmart? How much is it on Amazon? It's no different, from a service industry standpoint.
Absolutely. Do you do any networking events or kind of host any networking yourself?
No, sir.
No. Partnerships with any other businesses? Not necessarily cleaning services, but like a realtor or somebody else.
Yeah, one of the best business partnerships that I had, and I would call it more of a relationship than a partnership. And it goes back with how we handle Airbnbs. The biggest sticking point that I ever found with Airbnbs is how do they handle laundry? Do they want it washed on site, off site? Do they have extras? That's just kind of like the bane of every cleaning company's existence if you're doing Airbnbs. And I quickly realized that in the beginning, and we built a relationship with a local laundromat called the Clothesline, and they've got two or three locations in the Nashville market, but they offer a wash and fold service where they pick up the dirty linens from the residents. They take it back, they wash it, they fold it, they bag it up, they return it 48 hours later. We have our Airbnb hosts have two or three, preferably three sets of linens and towels and everything on hand, so that one can be at the laundromat, one can be in service, and one is kind of in case of emergency. But that's the biggest thing. I do handle all of the scheduling of that for our Airbnb customers, just to make it easier. It's super simple. It doesn't 30-40 minutes a month out of my time to be able to kind of provide that service. But that's one of the probably the best relationships we have with other businesses.
I think it's huge for a service business to partner with others that can help each other out, whether it's a lawn care, pool cleaning, anything. You all help each other out. They find new leads and customers, they can transition that into you and vice versa.
Absolutely.
You already kind of mentioned customer loyalty with the $80 off you did to get more recurring customers. How else are you kind of trying to enhance customer loyalty and get more repeat business besides that?
I'm doing an outstanding job with one-time cleanings, move-in, move-outs, following up with those customers and trying to build a relationship there and encourage them to book a recurring service.
You're down to the fundamentals. Outstanding job with the workers, hire great people, let them do the work, trust in them, and then you have that almost 2 decades of customer service, with the restaurant industry. So you hammer it home that way.
Yes.
And strategy for managing growth. Do you kind of look at it day by day, weekly, monthly?
Yeah, more than anything, I kind of tie it into my hiring. I believe in don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't grow too fast. I think that is a mistake that a lot of not only small businesses but big businesses make, is they just bite off more than they chew and they try to grow as quickly as they possibly can. And when you do that, it makes it difficult to uphold your standards. It makes the hiring process that much more difficult. So the way I try to do it is to hire one or two people, get them trained, make sure that they're doing a good job, get their schedule filled up completely, and making sure that also all the other existing team members, their schedules are full to their liking, and then bring somebody else on and kind of repeat that process. And that's how we've grown since day one, just slow and steady. Not biting off more than we can chew, and I think it's allowed us to maintain the standards and the core values that we started.
Customer complaints. Every business has them. How do you handle that?
Empathy, again, looking at it through the customer's eyes, figuring out what we can do to make it right, and then also figuring out is there a system? Is there a fundamental flaw in how we're doing things? Is there something that we need to change as a company in a policy or in a procedure to make sure that those things don't happen again in the future?
Going towards revenue and the money side of things, do you know how much revenue you've done since you started in the last 6 years?
Yeah, we're right around in 6 years, right around the $3 million mark.
Congratulations. That's huge. What are you expected to do this year?
We're on pace. We'll be knocking on $1 million this year.
Is it going to be the biggest year yet?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations. That's definitely a big accomplishment for sure. Besides revenue, what metrics are you tracking to measure your success?
The biggest one would probably be feedback from customers. We utilize the Booking Koala automated emails that go out to follow up on their happiness. Definitely look at that on a daily basis and strive to be as good as we can be there. Profit margins, that's another number that I look at and use as a measurement of success. Those are probably the two biggest outside of obviously.
What do you use strategy wise to manage risk?
Again, go back to the don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't get in over your head with things. Make sure that you not only look at what could happen, what are the possibilities, and I use a word called unintended consequences, and that is something that I try to look at with every decision that I make, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a life decision. What are the unintended consequences? It's easy for me to say that, oh, well, if I hire more people, I'm going to have more business. I'm going to have more sales. Yes, but am I going to be able to manage this extra person? Am I going to be able to make sure that our quality stays up? So trying to think through those things before coming to a final decision.
Where do you see the business in the next 5 to 10 years?
Still being successful, still on a steady growth plane, and I'm hoping that my son is 12, and that I hope that once he graduates high school, that he has an interest in becoming an entrepreneur and possibly taking.
Excellent. Going now towards the software side of things with Booking Koala. You already touched on it a little bit, but tech plays a massive role in your business.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit about your tech stack. What are you using?
Booking Koala, Google Drive, um, Google Calendar. Those are really Twilio, obviously for text messaging and things like that. But again, just a real simple approach. I don't try to have a million different pieces of technology that I'm trying to manage. I think that for the most part, Booking Koala really does a good job of centralizing the majority of my things, and I don't find a need to start stacking a bunch of other things on top of it.
And how long have you been using Booking Koala?
For 3 or 4 years now, 3.5 years.
What drew you into using it, and what were you using before?
It was originally on Launch 27. Made the exodus to Booking Koala whenever Launch got sold, and they started. It's really started going downhill from a customer service standpoint, from a technology standpoint, everything. It was all headed in the wrong direction. I saw the writing on the wall with it, and I started kind of researching other technologies at that point in time. Booking Koala had a great price point, had a great feature set. Felt like it would be an easy transition over, and had a lot of the features that I was looking for.
Excellent. Speaking of features, what is one feature that you can't live without?
Definitely the online booking page.
Anything else besides the key feature to it all?
You know, I love the automation of the emails and text messages to the employees and to the customers. That's just a huge time saver, and I think it adds a tremendous level of professionalism to the business. It doesn't make it seem like it's a one man operation to the customers. They would never know that. Booking Koala, as a whole, I think it allows me to be a one man show and seem a lot bigger and do some pretty big, revenue numbers just out of a small office here at my house.
Couple last questions here. Now, the flip side to that, what's one feature that we don't have as of yet, but you're hoping for?
I would love the ability to add a credit card processing fee. So be able to plug in, hey, it's 2.97% plus 15 cents per transaction. Have that in there and have that be able to get charged. So we're not losing that basic 3% all the time.
To Stripe or whoever else you're using.
Yeah.
And then final question to your 10-year-old self, if you can tell them, go back in time and tell them, what advice would you give them? Or better yet, your 12-year-old son, what kind of advice are you giving him, knowing what the last 6 years in this industry and the 18 years plus before that?
College education is not nearly as important as what it's made out to be. Um, I tell my son all the time, hey, you don't have to go to college. You can go learn a trade. Um, when you look at plumbing, electricians, trades like that, the people who are making businesses out of that, learning that trade, and then growing those businesses very much the same way I've grown the maid business. I think that's going to be the way to go for the future. I can remember that I'm 48, and when I went to college, it was one of those that a college education almost guaranteed you a job when you graduated, and that's just not the case anymore. Um, I would venture to say that from some of the figures I've seen, half of the college graduates are not getting a job immediately outside of college within their field. Um, but yet you're spending a tremendous amount of money to do that. If I could, I tell my son, and if I could have told 10-year-old me, I would have said, hey, listen, don't be afraid. One, to take a chance. Two, don't work for the man, and three, start your own business.
Excellent. Brian, thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with myself and everyone else who is going to watch. Big congratulations to your success as well. The $1 million mark this year for you is going to be huge, and big congratulations to you again.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Of course. Stay tuned next time for another episode of the Qualified Podcast.